Okay. Well, we have to start over because I put it on airplane mode. So I just lost everybody. No. Okay. So we'll see who jumped. I was in the process of explaining that if you're new, and you haven't been a part of, hey, what's up, guys? I don't know. There we go. I don't know if you're new or if you're jumping on again. I had to restart this because that's what happens. So we're playing Tap In. Say what up. And if you have any questions, if you haven't played before, I basically tap in and ask a bunch of questions or ask your questions. If you're shy about it, you can private message me. And hey, Clifford. Okay, glad everybody's back on it. Sorry. That's what happens when the internet goes out. We just got out of Mercury retrograde. So if technology could function properly, that would be really, really helpful. But if you haven't played Tap In, the game goes like this. I have a bunch of books. You can, hey, Kate. Oh, I miss you. Okay, focus. I'm using my card deck tonight, the angel messages. And if you have a question, you can ask it in the comments below. I figured out how to scroll down on Facebook Live. That's new. Cheers to me. And I have an amazing arrangement of books. And how you play Tap In is you get to ask your question. I clear open the space and I literally let the books answer the question for you. And then whatever insights additionally come through is the gift to you. So we have a bunch of questions. We just did jealousy. This one's going to be titled Oops, because that was my oops. But anyways, so we just finished jealousy, so you can go back and watch the jealousy one. And this one, I am going to, let's see, I have 5 questions here. What do I want to do? This one's kind of fun. I want, this was from a woman, but what I always say about women, you could, or, one sex, you can always say about the other. I want my man to be more sexually dominant. How do I create that with him? My partner thinks everything is my fault. Won't take responsibility. I love them. What do I do? Let's go with that one because that's awesome. What's up, Sarah? I'm so excited. Wait, what'd you say? So excited to be here. Yay, have fun. Ask a question, girl, if you want to. If you would like either the cards or the books to answer something specific that's going on to you. I targeted around relationships, but it's kind of life and love since they're all intertwined. So I'm going to do, my partner thinks that everything is my fault and won't take any responsibility. I love them, but what do I do? So that's really huge. I'm gonna let the book answer first before I jump into that one. And I brought one of my favorites. This was one of the first books that I read when I was needing a lot of questions to be answered, and I wasn't really finding it anywhere else. And somebody gifted me this book. Not to be too on the religious side, and no, it's not the Bible, but it is Conversations with God. And I don't know, I just have to say that it offered a lot of different perspectives. So I'm going to go with this one for my partner thinks that everything is my fault and won't take responsibility. And I love them, but what do I do? So Conversations with God. Damn it, open. I hate it when that happens. I mean, I love it when that happens. Okay. Let's see. So 2 sections opened up. So tell me, what promises should I make in relationship? I'm sorry, I love it when this shit happens. What agreements must I keep? What obligations do relationships carry? And what guidelines should I seek? I'm not kidding. you guys have it, it's page 135, and it opened to 129. So I'm going to read 135 first, but in case you don't believe me, and somebody said that when I do this, I hold it up and it's backwards. So the words may actually be backwards, right? But it literally says it right there, everything about relationships. And so this is, my partner thinks that everything's my fault, won't take responsibility. I love them. What do I do? The answer again. Tell me, what promises should I make in relationships? What agreements must I keep? And what obligations do relationships carry? What guidelines should I seek? That's kind of a little perfect. It's like a question and then the question inside the book that's going to give us an answer. It's not an oxymoron. It's like something else. So here's the answer. The answer is the answer you cannot hear. Well, that's not vague at all. For it leaves you without guidelines and renders null and void every agreement in the moment you make it. The answer is you have no obligation, neither in relationships nor in all of life. No obligation, nor any restrictions or limitations, nor any guidelines or rules. Ooh. Nor are you bound by any circumstances or situations, nor constrained by any code of law. Nor are you punishable for any offense, nor capable of any. For there is no such thing as being offensive. I've heard this before, that there are no rules, kind of religion, the spiritual anarchy, blah, blah, blah. I don't see how this can work. There is no way it cannot work. If you are about the business of creating yourself, if, on the other hand, you imagine yourself to be about the task of trying to be what someone else wants you to be, the absence of rules or guidelines might indeed seem to make things difficult. Interesting. So I'm gathering, relating to my partner thinks that everything is my fault and won't take responsibility. What do I do? Stop putting rules. Stop putting rules and guidelines. I don't know why it's like something saying stop asking them to take responsibility. Like somebody's either going to take responsibility or they're not, but like you can't ask somebody to take responsibility. It never works. I've tried that one time. They end up like, they don't want to take responsibility. Like, you can't set the rules that somebody needs to take responsibility. They either take it or they don't. And if that's a way in which they're operating, without judgment, it can be communicated. But I was just sitting with another friend of mine, and a lot of the dynamics in their relationship were, quite honestly, unhealthy. Without sounding too judgmental, there's healthy and there's just unhealthy. And at the same time, taking responsibility for how everything is being created and having equal responsibility. So asking somebody else to take responsibility where is it that then you are not taking responsibility? Is that clear? Maybe not. I need to read the second part of the question. That's why it's not coming all the way through. So the answer you cannot hear, it leaves you without guidelines or null and void. Yeah, and it's like you feel totally confused. Who's all the hearts from? Hey, hi. Those are fun. I like hearts. Thank you. And ultimately, everybody has to take responsibility. Again, but you can't, okay, so I'm losing my train of thought. So you can't make anybody take responsibility. Hands down. You just can't. And so I think that's what they're saying here in it like leaves you confused and there's no guidelines. Having no obligation. Okay, I'm going to read the second part because, like I said, something's not totally clear, and usually that's when, like, they tie in together. So I'm going to read the second part. Okay, so again, this is my partner won't take responsibility. Thinks that everything's my fault. I love them, but what do I do? So the second part of that in Conversations with God is, this is why masters are impenetrable in the face of what others might call calamity. The master blesses calamity, for the master knows that from the seed of disaster and all experience comes the growth of self. And the master's second life purpose is always growth. For once one has fully self-realized, there is nothing left to do except be more of that. So first, that's telling me with hold space. You got to just hold space. If they're not taking the responsibility that you want, you can't ultimately make them do anything, but who are you being in that? One, where are you not taking responsibility? Two, how are you showing up or not showing up? That's what that's telling me. Can't make anybody do anything. It is at this stage that one moves from soul work to God work. For this is what I am up to. So again, it's about you. It's not about anybody else. It's how you show up. It's what you do. It's who you're being. I will assume for the purpose of this discussion that you are still up to soul work. Everybody up for soul work? Put a heart. You are still seeking to realize who you truly are. Two, life will give you bountiful opportunities to create that. Life is not a process of discovery. Life is a process of creation. You have to see your own reflection in the responsibility. You can't ask somebody else to take something that you're not equally going to take. And yes, the flip side of it is if somebody's constantly blaming someone else and they're not wanting to take the responsibility, then there's a lot of fear there usually, you know? And I don't know. Maybe if you're an asshole, then you're an asshole, and you need to just take your own responsibility of being an asshole. Okay, sorry. That's the real question. Okay, I'm going to do it one more time because it feels like I should. There is so much work I want to ask. There are so many questions. I suppose I should start with the big ones, the obvious ones, like why is the world in the shape it is in? Oof. That's a totally different thing. Of all the questions man has asked of God, this is the one asked most often. From the beginning of time, I asked this. From the first moment, they wanted to know, why must it be like this? Are you asking yourself, why? Why am I attracting partners that won't take responsibility? From the beginning of time. That's been the question. Okay, I'm going to check in super quick with everybody here. What's up? Loyalty, honesty, understanding, respect, patience. To be considered to take full responsibility of our actions at all times. And the most important, this is like a lot. Teach your partner by setting the example first. Of course. You always, always, always have to set the example first. And that means if each one of you are setting the example first, then hey, it merges at the middle point. I like it if a guy sets the tone with that, you know? It's kind of been this like age-old thing of, you know, that guys don't take responsibility, and yet at the same time I've seen a lot of women show up not taking responsibility either. So if you're coming into a relationship to give, and that's the purpose of your relationship, awesome. If you're trying to take energy and you're trying to get something and have them fulfill something within you that you're not able to give to yourself, then that might be where you're blaming them for other things and not taking your own responsibility because you don't want to see how you're not giving. I don't know, it's just truthful, you know? It's my truth. If it resonates with you, awesome. If not, awesome. What guidelines should I seek out that would be the most optimal and joy-making in my next relationship? Ooh, that's a good question. My leg is falling asleep. Hang on. What guidelines should I seek out? Let me see. Hang on. How do we co-create a life when our lives are constantly what? Constantly what? Roussel, will you ask that question again if you're watching? Because I don't know. Constantly doing what? When our lives are just constant? And I will check in. Okay, so Kate wants to know, what guidelines should I seek out that would be the most optimal and joy-making in my next relationship? What guidelines should I seek out? Okay, girl, we're going to go with one of these. Angel cards. And we're going to go with the Book of Love's Answers. And we're going to go with, Kate, you're sending me a message. The last time that I tried to read a Facebook message at the same time as Facebook Live, it booted me off. So can you put it in the comment? Kate's watching. Okay, cool. Girl, I'm answering your question, so stay watching. Because I can't read your Facebook message because, like I said, when I did that, it booted me off. Okay, so what guidelines should I seek out that would be the most optimal and joy-making in my next relationship? I think this applies to everybody. I think this would be really, really awesome for everyone. And if you are in a relationship, then apply it to your current relationship. I think that would be really healthy. If you want, if you feel so inspired, and we're going to go put a little of this. Girl, I'm going to blow up your question in a good way. Okay, so I have a card. I have Love's Book of Answers. I have Osho, and I have Pleiadian Agenda for you. Okay, so first, and I literally, as far as the deck goes, I just picked the deck in half. Ugh, I'm sorry, I didn't show you that. I literally just picked it up in half and then grabbed the first one, and that's patience. And again, somebody said when I hold this up, it looks backwards. So, Esni tap. That was my terrible job at doing that. So, patience. Now is the time to learn, study, and gather information. Enjoy being a student because in the future you will synthesize your knowledge into action. Somebody's going to be learning about relationships. So go get some books on the relationships. Study as much as you can. And have patience in them. I'm not going to read the whole page, but it is the angel cards. So I know either you have this deck or somebody in Sedona has that deck. Or Chocolate Tree. Go to Chocolate Tree. I know they got a deck. Okay. So again, what guidelines should I seek out that would be the most optimal and joy making in my next relationship? There is no right and wrong. There's no right and wrong. So don't judge yourself for, well, you said joy making, but there's no right or wrong. I don't know how else to get more clear than that. Okay, Pleiadian Agenda. Here we go. Hang on. I want to clear this book from like last time. Ooh. The next question has to be asked whether Anu laid his bomb to do just that. Raise the vibration of humanity. I'm not kidding. If you have it, it's page 88. Let's see. From my perspective, as a Pleiadian, it is difficult to credit Anu with the possibility of a loving decision due to his seeming lack of kindness or compassion for humanity. I know I don't think that's you. I don't think that's what it's saying, because I know you are kind and compassionate and everything. What I would say is, where are you thinking that relationships are not kind and not having compassion for how relationships don't always show up to be joyful? Sometimes they take work. All the time they take work. I don't think they have to be hard work, but they do. So what guidelines? Compassion for humanity, compassion for being human, compassion for you showing up being human, and compassion for somebody else showing up being human, and patience in them, in how they show up, and how maybe we're all human and we all try, and we're all doing the best that we can with the tools that we've been given. And some people have been given more tools, and some people have been studying more, and some people haven't. It doesn't mean that they're any less worthy of love. It means that you're going to be part of the guide to guiding people on that path of deeper love. That's what I got. This is a fascinating razor's edge, because while influencing the planet, the Anunnaki have been playing a very parental role with you, and all aspects of your parents are valuable to you. Like all parents, many facets of their activities have to do with encouraging you to slowly but surely develop and grow, and that is what is confusing. On Earth, many parents, especially those from undisturbed indigenous peoples, are loving in a 5D Pleiadian way. This creates boundless trust in the child. The parental tendency of Anu is not a loving, compassionate kind of parent. It is more like most parenting of the Western world. If you were to go back into your own experiences with your parents and separate out every place where they felt true love and concern for you, and if you stripped out that loving part of their relationship with you, you'd be left only with the part of them that was intending to grow you like a plant. They give birth to you, then they had to feed you, clothe you, and then they had to be concerned about your development. But imagine if they did not activate their heart-centered, loving part of you because it was not in their nature. Have you not known parents who are nurturing their child yet seem to feel no true or blissful love for that child? You got some parental work to do with you. That's what I'm getting. On some, I'm sure you already know this, girl. So this is just reiteration and an addition. And I love how like answers get asked, and then the answers are so, it's like answering something underneath the question. And it's like you're asking about love and creating more, joy, and you're wanting to create more joy. And out of that, maybe recognize where you haven't been joyful, or where your relationships haven't been joyful, or most importantly, or specifically, maybe your family relationship dynamic, where that hasn't always been joyful, and maybe where there wasn't always so much love and caring and compassion, or whatever dynamic was there, that made you not feel like it was joyful. And so I would dive into your parents a little bit. If you want to talk about, if you want to like jump on a call or something like that, I can do a really awesome like parts integration kind of just a dynamic to look at two different areas of wherever you feel like you want to be versus wherever you feel like you're not, and connect those two things. I've done that for a couple of people that end up being really, really powerful. It's part of the breakthrough sessions that I do. So if you want to jump on, girl, I'd love to be able to assist you with something like that and just get more clear on it if you want to. It's totally up to you. But I would say that there's some deeper stuff around parents, and I think that goes for everybody. Like we're obviously so influenced by our parents when we're growing up, and how they raise us, and society on top of it. Like that's where our patterns and our programs get set. And it's not our fault, because again, we're all doing the best that we can within the tools that we're given. And so when you're really young, you don't have any tools. Like you don't have anything. How does my battery have 5%? Okay, it's because I'm on this. So we'll make this one a short one. But our patterns and our programs within our families are really what get so deeply rooted into the way that then we operate, and sometimes the ways that we don't even know that we're operating. And we take those patterns into our relationships, and those patterns attract the certain kinds of relationships that we have in our life. And so sometimes if we have an unhealthy relationship dynamic, I'm not saying that this is specifically that you have, but if we're wanting something of more joy, right, and coming from something that's not joyful, or having those negative relationships or unhealthy ones, there's usually a reason. There's like this silent record that's playing in our mind that's this sentence, and every person has a unique one. And so really getting to the specific of what that unique sentence is that you're saying to yourself over and over again in your mind is what you project out, and then hence what starts getting, or what you are then attracting to you. And so you don't even know what that sentence is until you find out specifically. And then you take that sentence and find how that's been a thread through every relationship that you've attracted, how you relate and interact with different friendships, sometimes even how you relate and interact with yourself and business and all these other different elements. There's this record that keeps going, and it's not always a healthy one. And so really recognizing what that is, and then transforming it into a healthy one, and repatterning the neural pathways to create the path to where you want to go, and then what you also want to attract. But if you don't know what you're saying, hearts, yay. If you don't know what you're saying, and you don't know where you have been operating, then how do you know what then that feeling of joy and where you do want to be, what that's actually gonna feel like? So I know we can speculate, but like I said, it's like an energy signature. Everybody has a unique one, and so every single person has this unique. It's like an internal dialogue, but it keeps replaying over and over and over again, and it's the signature that goes throughout all things. And so I would say, seeking out more optimal joy making in your relationships, there's some sentence, an internal dialogue that you're saying around that is telling you that joy doesn't exist in everything that you are and everything that you have. And it can be a simple switch in then being able to see how to attract all of that and how to find joy in everything. And that simple perspective, you would have joy making in all of your relationships. So I don't know, it could be totally it is a much deeper conversation. So if you want to ask some more deeper rooted perspective or deeper rooted questions, and this goes for everybody too, I'm happy to find everybody's unique signature for them. And usually when I found that, it told me who I was not, right? That I had been operating from, And then the flip side of the essence of who I am in all of the universe and related to all of the universe and what that looks like and what that doesn't look like. And so I actually did that work deeper a little bit with my mama, and we got to the root of everything that love is not, to therefore then be the essence of everything that love is. And so I was operating from everything that love is not, and seeing where everything and where love is not, in order to then understand and know that I am the essence for everything that is love in the universe. So that was just one sentence that I came up with. It could be said a bunch of different ways. And that was what showed up for me. But everybody has a totally different one. I did it with another young gentleman, and he was literally thinking that he was trash, like just trash. That was his operating perspective. And we got to him being pretty much, it was funny, we turned it into the essence of him being Batman. You know? And so it's trying on these different things and recognizing like where you have been operating, that's the unhealthy pattern, versus like who you are in the essence of the whole universe. So it's a really fun, unique process. I'm definitely happy to show anybody and guide anybody on that path. If anyone would like to have that conversation, feel free to private message me, and I'd be happy to do that for you. So I'm going to jump off because I think I have like 3% battery, 1%. So I love you guys so much. Mwah! Have an amazing night. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to do tomorrow, but hopefully the next night. So much love. Take care.